My name is Rachel, and I'm going to talk about my history experiences. So, when I think of social studies, the first thing that comes to mind is struggle. And I hate to say that, but it's just I've always had a hard time with remembering all the dates and the time periods and the important people and just keeping everything into that logical order. Knowing what event happened, who was involved, when did it occur, and what else was going on at the time. It just always seemed like so much to remember. And maybe that could have been the way that I was taught, or maybe the teachers that I had, or maybe just my lack of interest, maybe. I'm not really sure where that sense of struggle and nervousness comes from when it comes to social studies. It's just never really been my strong point. But I guess maybe it all starts back to elementary school. I remember learning about colonial times a lot. For some reason, that is like the biggest thing that sticks out to me as social studies is the colonial times and the formation of the colonies and just that whole time period. So one of the most fun things we did was Colonial Day. And we had all these people, they came to the school and they dressed up like we were back in the colonial days. The women wore the long dresses and the bonnets, and they had a nice big assembly for us. And then after the assembly, we broke up and we went back with our regular classes, and in each classroom there was an activity for us to do. So I remember churning butter and making little dolls out of, I think it was like hay or straw or something. So I remember that was a lot of fun because it was interactive, and I feel that's the way that I learn best. I learn from experiences and things that are meaningful to me. And I guess maybe a lot of social studies instruction I have had hasn't been that interactive, which is maybe why it hasn't stuck with me. I also remember learning about Pilgrims and Indians around Thanksgiving time. Also, I'm sure a lot to do because it was interactive, and I remember making like little head dresses and just doing fun activities, making like a sort of like a celebration out of it. So that was great. I also remember, I want to say it was 5th grade, we learned about explorers. And at this time we had began switching classes for science and social studies. We had also done that, I believe, starting in 4th grade. But for some reason, this 5th grade activity sticks out to me. And we were each assigned an explorer. I remember I was assigned Magellan. And we had to write a report on them and just sort of become an expert. And then we had to, present in front of the class. And I thought that was kind of neat because we weren't just learning about Christopher Columbus, but all these other explorers I hadn't even heard of prior to this assignment. So I thought that was kind of neat. Again, interactive. It was fun. Then my next memories probably come from middle school. I remember 6th grade. I don't remember what the class was called, but I kind of had this kooky teacher, and but again, it made class fun. I remember doing a lot of like crafts. We learned about ancient times, so a lot of Egypt, King Tut. We watched a lot of cool videos. And then going into high school, I think maybe it's high school is where things went wrong with me in social studies, because now just thinking back and talking about it, it seems like my elementary school experiences were a lot of fun, and even that middle school class I remember. But high school, I had U.S. government, AP European history, and AP Human Geography. Now, I know, coming from a person who says they don't really like social studies, what am I doing in these AP European history class and the AP Human Geography class? Well, I guess I've always was on honor roll, always maintained a high GPA, and always held to these high expectations. So, I always was one to take the high AP courses and the honors classes, even if that wasn't the best thing for me. AP European history, I did terrible in, absolutely terrible. I remember taking the class because my sister had taken the class, and she said she thought it was really neat, But every day was the same thing over and over again. The teacher would stand up there and he would just lecture. And he would just, it was just so hard to pay attention because, you stand up, have someone just standing up there, talking to you the whole time, and especially in high school, I'm thinking about 80 million other things. And so it was a very dry course, straight from the textbook. We never had any projects or, big assignments. It was just test after test after test, preparing to pass an AP test, which I wound up taking the AP test, and oh my gosh, I don't even know why I took it, because I didn't do well in the class. I guess maybe because everyone else was taking it and that was the expectation. That's the reason you take the classes, to then take the test and get the credit. But I'm pretty sure I got a 1 on that AP test. So again, I just felt like I shouldn't have been in that class. AP Human Geography I did better with, because it was a lot more about I guess today's society, and more about the economy and the movement of people and businesses, and it was just more interesting to me because it didn't feel so much like social studies. We did have a lot of map quizzes and stuff like that, but I have a very good memory of always being good at taking tests and memorizing definitions and being able to put things on a map. But it kind of seemed like after I take the test, all that just goes away. So neat class, but again, I think I got C's and B's, so maybe not the best thing for me to be taking the AP classes. Didn't pass the AP test on that either. Then going into college, I took some geography courses. Again, those types of classes just had, they're in the big lecture hall, and so many students where you're not getting that interactive, working in groups, hands-on instruction. It's more, again, it just lectures and watching PowerPoints, and always kind of just, I don't know, got bored with it. So I did good in the classes. I got B's and A's, but I don't know. Again, it's just not something that felt like it impacted me or felt like I gained a lot afterwards. I remember taking women's studies, and I believe that was my freshman year. Absolutely loved that class. I kind of just chose it because I was like, oh, women's studies, I'm a woman, I want to learn about the impact of women and the power of women, and it just meant something to me. But I learned so much more than that, and learned that women's studies is not about feminism and woman power. It's about, struggle. It's about equality and opportunity and civil rights and men and women being equal of each other. And I just felt like I got so much out of it. And the teacher the professor, she was just such a powerful speaker, and she stressed the importance, she displayed her passion, which made me passionate about it. So absolutely loved that course. Loved all the books we read. I took American history, and I did the one that had to do a lot with colonial times. Again, I thought that was my strength. If there's one thing I know about American history, it's the Revolution and formation of the colonies and all that, breaking away from England. So I did well in it because I've had it over and over so many times, but again, it's just so dry. So that's, my history of courses that I've taken. But I guess when I think to where I am today, I look at my internship that I'm in now, student teaching at Hilltop, and they don't have social studies. They don't have a lot of time set aside for social studies. They don't switch classes like I did, but I was in elementary school. Instead, what they're doing is they're integrating social studies into language arts. I haven't seen it done yet, so I'm interested to see, how they do that, what resources they use. So much is stressed on reading and writing. That's what the standardized tests are on. So I'm curious to see how well they do it, and if they even do it at all. So, we'll see how that goes, but hopefully I get a chance to teach some social studies, because I'm sure I'll be learning at the same time. Personal connections, events that I lived through, of course, 9/11, I was in elementary school when that happened, and it was a tragedy. I just remember how close, the country, we just all pulled together, and I remember everyone having candles out, and it was a really sad time. And as an elementary schooler, this might sound crazy, but I had no idea what was happening. My mom pulled me out of school early, and my mom, we were in the car, and she told me, we're being attacked by terrorists. And this might sound crazy, but I asked my mom, what is a terrorist? I had no idea what she was saying, like what was going on. So confused. And then when she told me, I just felt awful. I felt so sad, and just like, I thought, like, wait, how could this happen? You hear about war, and I don't know, all these times back in history, like World War I, World War II, and you think, oh, today nothing could happen, like, there's no bombing or anything like that. And then something like this happens, and, as a child, you're just like, what's wrong with the world? You thought everything was perfect, and you lived in perfect little world. So, I'll never forget that day. Also living through, President Obama being voted president, Hillary Clinton running, just that whole thing. Social studies, I guess I can connect more to when it comes to my background and where I come from, my heritage. Part of my background is Filipino and Polish, and both sides of my family, we celebrate our heritage. The Philippines, I've been to a lot of different festivals, and we eat the Filipino food. My dad makes it a lot. We have family that comes to visit. Poland, I come from a family with a Polish background. We do a lot of Polish traditions, eat a lot of Polish food. We sing happy birthday in Polish at every birthday party. We do a lot of Polish wedding traditions. So I have a very strong connection to my background, my culture. My family also, whenever we go on vacation or go on family trip, we always go to museums. And we went to North Carolina and did the Wright Brothers Museum. We saw a play on the Lost Colony. My fiance and I, we always are looking for things to do. I went to the Holocaust Museum. I've been to all the Smithsonian's. I don't know, just always, when we go somewhere on a trip, we don't just go just to sit on the beach all day. We want to learn about, what the city has to offer, or, we went to Canada. I think a lot of social studies is just taking time to learn about the people, the culture, their past. And I like the firsthand experience. I like visiting museums, and I get so interested in that. But when it comes to just reading a textbook and having to spit verbatim, what it's saying, and taking tests, and it kind of stresses me out. But I'm a good student, and I know this course I just have to apply myself. And if I'm going to be a teacher and I'm going to teach social studies, then I need to learn the methods on how to teach it, and I also need to make sure that I understand the material and I know what I'm talking about. So, I'm looking forward to this course, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to learn a lot of strategies, and I want to make sure that my students think social studies is fun, and I want them to get excited about it, because I wasn't necessarily, interested in it, and so I want to make sure that my students are. So, that's it.